Kia ora, ko whasmataho. Ngā mai ki te whare, welcome to the House. Every year, Parliament ends in a more or less identical way with an event called the Adjournment debate. The debate is over whether to break for summer, but its typicality goes beyond that. Each year has the same shape, themes, talking points, and the same terrible attempts at comedy, sometimes more cruelty in comedy's clothing. I'm not sure how many would even notice if an MP read the wrong year's speech. And you're probably thinking that our coverage of it is surely similarly cloned. Well, why not? Out of interest, I looked back through the scripts for our reporting of previous adjournment debates. Last year, I had some broken ribs in December, and I may have been slightly grumpy. I described the debate as, quote, the most chaotic, unfocused, haphazard, and sometimes incoherent debate of the year, and described speeches as, quote, akin to a motley collection of political Rorschach tests. Harsh, but not wrong.
Earlier this year, David said that Jesus very well might support ACT, but I talk to the guy every night and I've never heard him talk about ACT.
Mr. Speaker, if we ever needed more proof that AI can't come up with very good jokes, I think we just heard it.
Well, I'll say clearly this afternoon on Hansard that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
They are now a party full of apparatchiks who have graduated from some sociology department, riddled with left-wing brainwashing propaganda. Most of them think that manual labour is the Prime Minister of Mexico.
Now, like many Kiwis, I was actually shocked by the recent news that Labor has people actually operating from this very building, producing content that manipulates the things that we say and relentlessly attacks the government. But despite that, I'd still like to wish the press gallery a very Merry Christmas.
In 2021, we noted that giving thanks is the most predictable element of any adjournment debate speech. It's an annual liturgy, and Parliament has many types of house elves that deserve the accolades. That's still true. Giving thanks is always a centrepiece of most speeches.
I want to start by thanking everyone who supports all of us to do our jobs. Our cleaners, our messengers, sign language interpreters, security, DPS, VIP drivers, DPMC, PCO, Cabinet Office, Office of the Clerk.
To the cleaners, caterers, security staff, drivers, library and Hansard staff.
To the catering staff, to the cleaning staff.
The clerk's office, security, Copperfields.
VIP, travel staff, and of course our electorate staff, and of course you, Madam Speaker.
In recent years, speeches have also added some other additions to the thanks.
The enormous family sacrifice that many people make, many members of this House's families make to allow us all to be here.
And I want to particularly personally thank Alex for her unwavering support and boundless sympathy and patience that she's shown.
And so we really do send our thanks and our aroha to the families of MPs from across the political spectrum, and we thank them so much for allowing us to do what we do. We couldn't do it without all of their support.
In 2017, Daniela Moate Cox used the descriptor whimsy, and that is always true. In fact, it infects the entire final day. For example, an exchange between the Speaker and the Green MP, Lawrence Shunan, an hour earlier when MPs were still discussing the serious stuff.
It's actually not that common that I give two speeches back to back. What a treat.
Well, why don't you give us a treat and make it short?
And in the same debate, Labour's Venushi Walters began a speech on High Court judge numbers like this.
What do you call Santa's helpers? That's right, another lawyer, subordinate clauses. Thank you.
During the adjournment debate, Labour's Kushla Tangere Manuel's speech was mostly sung.
2 years on and the people are still pushing you know what uphill, oh man, and you know what I mean. Well, cost of living's what the PM said, but our whānau out there still can't buy bread, oh man. What a situation.
In 2019, I noted that, technically, the debate is an argument about whether or not to end the sitting year and when to return. In reality, that's seldom mentioned. Also true. Here's another quote from a previous script. The adjournment debate is traditionally begun by the sitting Prime Minister whose office will try to pen something that melds statesmanship, triumphalism, political attacks, all leavened with humour and self-deprecation. Yep.
This was a government elected to deliver, and here's what we've done. Wasteful spending is down, keeping a lid on inflation and leading to more and more Kiwis rolling onto lower mortgage rates. An RMA replacement worth up to $3 billion per year and 7 fast-track... I want to wish, in particular, the Leader of the Opposition well, though. He has certainly one of the toughest jobs in politics, right behind whoever is Te Pāti Māori's accountant.
And self-deprecation.
But I actually have to say, I think the judges have actually sort of overlooked some of my best work. There was the time I described the recently passed Sir Bob Jones as a living legend. And
of course, opposition MPs bring their own commentary.
That caps off a shocking year for the government, Mr. Speaker. The year of growth in which they succeeded in shrinking the economy. The year that they began by saying that everyone must go and everyone went to Australia. The year in which they said they were going to get kids off the couch and increased youth unemployment.
It's not all Christmas cheer, obviously, and even the slightly giddy end-of-school term feeling can't overwhelm MPs' urge to attack. In this debate, most attacks are badly dressed as comedy. The punchlines tend to hang from a story or a theme.
Madam Speaker, it's been a long year, and I've listened to a lot of music. And I got sent my Spotify Wrapped the other day. Well, don't steal all my jokes. That's coming. Give me a chance to get there. I'm building up to it.
For some, this is the majority of their speech, or feels like it. The Prime Minister built his around the varieties in a box of chocolates.
But I think the rest of Labor are a bit like a cherry ripe. They seem nice on the outside, but inside they're deeply, deeply red, and frankly, they're just best left where they are. Of course, their mates in the Greens and Te Pāti Māori, they're actually a bit like a picnic, frankly a bit rough and totally nuts.
Chris Hipkins told an involved story about a barbecue at Chris Bishop's house, which is code for a leadership coup.
David Seymour took along a few uneaten school lunches. Now, you've got to hand it to Discount Dave. He is committed to value for money for the taxpayer. He's combining his role as the Minister for Farmac with his Minister for School Lunches role, because now he's providing free penicillin to kids up and down the country.
It's not easy, though, making a pre-written joke funny, even with colleagues providing a laugh track. Avoiding that issue, Winston Peters didn't try.
As for the Greens, they've proven themselves to be the most hypocritical, shallow, vacuous bunch of Marxists that we all knew they were. They've gone through more MPs than they have protests.
Very festive, Mr. Peters. Reporting the 2019 debate, we said this. With an election within the next year, this adjournment debate had a darker, less comic tone than is often the case. Politicians are already stepping across into election mode and marking the distinction. This year, that is also true.
I do want to acknowledge all those New Zealanders who have experienced a great deal of difficulty this year, those who lost their jobs, those who have been struggling with the rising cost of living and so on. And I do want to indicate to them that help is on the way, Mr. Speaker. And next year they will have an opportunity to vote for that help.
And reflecting back this time before the last election, no one gave our party any chance of being back here in this Parliament. Well, today we are here, and the question is no longer if we'll get back, it's how many seats we will get. Well, we've got some news, and it's very good for everyone. We will turn these current polls into confetti.
Boot camps for youth who really are young people who need what everyone else needs but don't have access to it. Benefit sanctions, stripping sick, disabled and unemployed people of their ability to make ends meet by taking away their only source of income.
Not everything is the same every time, though. Sometimes there are genuinely touching moments, like this from Green co-leader Marama Davidson.
Some things are completely different this year than this time last year. Mr. Speaker, it was next week, 1 year ago, on Christmas Eve, exactly, that I finished my final of 15 daily and consecutive radiation treatments to kill breast cancer cells, which had followed chemotherapy treatment and 2 surgeries. I was able to return to mahi, Mr Speaker, a month later to the aroha of the motu at Waitangi in February 2025. So my first mihi, actually, Mr Speaker, is to you, to acknowledge the support for my leave for medical treatment and my oncologist-ordered careful return, as I know you have supported people across this House.
And this update on his ACT Party colleague Mark Cameron from David Seymour.
And as we speak today, he's in isolation so he doesn't take on any infection before he is able to have a kidney transplant out of a pool to which his wife is donating so he can benefit. Our thoughts are with you, brother, and even from your sickbed.
And finally, one last predictable element is the final speech given by the Speaker. Although this year the Speaker threw a spanner in the works and delivered his speech first.
Here, normally in a adjournment debate, the Speaker gets to speak at the end of the debate. And one of the irritating things about that is by that stage there's only about 2 people left in the House.
Along with many thanks, the Speaker often includes some statistics.
We had 55 hours of extended minutes, 209 hours of urgency compared to 630 hours of normal time. And this is an important stat, I think, 943 oral questions to ministers. Bellamy's this year sold 60,000, mainly hot drinks, mainly coffee. Also 73,000 people through Parliament in tours this year, quite a large number. And if you include visitors who came here for various meetings, that number goes up to 122,000. So when you think about that number of people visiting here, it means that I think we have a strong democracy, and we've got to make sure that this place remains as open as it possibly can.
If you want a more thorough statistical rundown of action in the House this year, we will bring that to you in an article. Numbers are tricky on the radio. In the non-numbers summary, though, it's been a year and a half. Just ask David Seymour.
This government has passed more legislation in the first 2 years of its 3 than any MMP Parliament has passed in its whole 3 years. That's pretty productive. You may not agree with the pace, you may not agree with the legislation. That's okay, that's democracy, but it certainly shows that we have a united government that works effectively together.
The legislative workload has been immense this year, with the House breaking records for urgency and, add to that, extended sittings. Also, a heavy load of contentious legislation, which this Parliament has attracted submissions to select committees in quantities that boggle. All in all, exhausting. The MPs will really need their summer respite. The staff even more so. And probably so do you.
We wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Huri noa I tō tātou whare, Meri krehi mete, kia koutou katoa.
We will return when the House does on January 27th. You've been listening to The House. E te whakaranga koe ki te whare. This program is produced with funding from Parliament's Office of the Clerk. Mā te wā.